Welcome to the What Is She Even Reading podcast.
I'm Claire, and I love to read.
I'm Jeremy, and I don't.
Join us each week as we read through some of today's most popular books as Jeremy discovers what is she even reading. Hello.
And welcome to
What is she even reading? Our first episode.
Yep, our first real episode. Are you excited?
Yeah.
That's good.
Are you?
Yeah. Excited to share my thoughts on this book.
So we're reading Fourth Wing, chapters 1 through 3 today. So if you haven't read it, go ahead and press stop because there are going to be spoilers, right?
Yes.
So go read it and come back and listen. So what do you think this book is about? Opening comments from someone who hasn't read it.
Well, there's dragons all over the cover. I'm judging the book by its cover immediately. That's what you're always supposed to do. It says fly or die, sort of menacingly. This one has dragons on the side of the pages, which is kind of neat. A special first edition or whatever, I've been told. But other than that, I don't know. Probably going to be some battle, some triumph over adversity. Hopefully it's good.
Hopefully.
So.
Any more opening comments, predictions?
Well, my prediction is the girl's going to fall in love with some guy. And is going to have to save the day or something. But I could be wrong.
Okay.
All right.
Shall we begin?
I think we shall.
Obviously, we're starting with chapter 1.
Yep.
And did you read this opening top portion of it?
I don't think so. What does it say?
A dragon without its rider is a tragedy. A rider without their dragon is dead.
Oh, yeah, I did read that.
It's been like the thing all over TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think that means?
I think it means that, it's a book about dragons.
You don't have any comments on that?
No. Other than, it must suck to not have a dragon if you're a rider.
Well, yeah, because you're dead.
Yeah. So, and it seems like the dragons are pretty powerful beings. If they're fine, basically.
So, chapter 1.
Chapter 1.
We're thrown right into the action.
Yep.
We open on conscription day.
Yep. Seems like they're all signing up for getting conscripted.
Yeah.
Seems very military heavy.
Mm-hmm.
There's a war college, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so.
That's what they call it.
Yeah. So we meet our main character, Violet Sorrengail.
All I can think of is the character from Willy Wonka. You're turning violet. So hopefully she doesn't...
yeah, what if she turns blue?
That'd be something. It turns into a giant blueberry. I don't think that'd make her a great heroine. So hopefully that doesn't happen in this book.
Well, now that we got that vision in our brain of a giant blueberry walking around.
Yep.
Snack for a dragon.
Oh, yeah. That would be a good snack for a dragon.
So we meet our main character, Violet.
Yep.
Who is immediately introduced as weak. Right?
Yep.
She's trained for 6 months. Can barely climb. 6 flights of stairs?
6 flights. The 30-pound pack. And it seems like she needs a new training routine or a new trainer or something. It's a bit embarrassing for her.
Well, I think she's supposed to have, what's it called? Chronic illness.
Oh, is she?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so, I don't know if you discover that till later, but it's never really said. I think it's just described she's been weak since she's been a child. So.
I see.
Yeah.
She's an indoor child. A sickly girl.
Okay. So, her mom wants her to enter Basgiath, I think is how you say it. War College. Or I guess that's that's where she's going, Basgiath War College. Her mom is in charge of it. You can either be a healer, a scribe, an infantry, or riders. And it lasts for 3 years. Right?
I think so, yeah.
They're trying to defend their country from
Poramiel,
Poramiel.
I think.
And apparently they ride griffins.
Oh. I don't remember that part. Maybe I skimmed over it. Or it's not said in...
It does in
Oh,
chapter
does it
1.
say it in chapter 1?
Yeah.
Okay, well, guess I need to pay more attention to the finer details.
So her mother's the general, and then we also meet her sister, Mira, who is a lieutenant. She's 26 years old and a rider. Violet has been training her whole life to be a scribe, like her father.
She wants nothing to do with the riders.
No.
And at this point, I was pretty confused as to, why is she going for the riders if she has no interest in it. But it's because her mother is forcing her to do it.
Because of family.
Yeah, you can't have a scribe being the daughter of the commander when they're all badasses.
Yeah, because I think Mira is supposed to be like a badass, basically.
Yeah.
So, kind of the complete opposite. She's described as strong, tall, powerful, while Violet is literally described as short, frail, and weak. So, she's 20 years old, and her hair fades to silver at the tips, which is an interesting detail.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to come into play later.
Probably.
So... But her father was a scribe.
It's true he was.
But he's dead.
Yeah.
But her mother, obviously, like you said, wants her to be a writer because they're like top of the...
Cream of the crop.
Yeah.
They're the cool kids, basically.
But her mom and Mira basically fight over whether they should be putting Violet into the Rider Squadron, right?
Yep.
They continue to call her weak and fragile in front of her, which
really
is a little mean.
Yeah, they're not nice to poor Violet.
And they literally say dragons don't bond to fragile women, they incinerate them. So that doesn't look good, does it?
No. But obviously she's the main character, so she's not going to get incinerated by that'd be a pretty crappy book in my opinion. It's obviously going to be, she's going to turn out to be the most badass of them all.
Yeah.
Obviously. It's like any, nerdy girl turned popular girl story.
I guess so. But we also learned that at least 40 to 50 candidates usually die on conscription day, so you're kind of immediately shown how deadly this is, and they kind of emphasize that throughout this whole, at least the first 3 chapters, I feel like. I mean, obviously people die without their dragons, so very deadly.
Yeah.
So
It's not going to be an easy task for her.
no. But we also learned that her mother has storm-wielding signet powers that she channels through her dragon. You don't remember that part?
I don't remember her specific powers. I remember that they do have powers through the dragons.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. We also learned that Violet's older brother, Brennan, died 5 years ago fighting in a rebellion. Violet believes that her mother tolerates her, respects Mira, but really loved Brennan. So I feel like that's a pretty crappy way to feel about yourself. But So they're still fighting, basically, Mira and her mom, saying, like, she shouldn't go, she shouldn't go. Mira gets kicked out, and her mother is trying to encourage her, saying she scored at the top of her class, or I guess in the entrance exam, she scored in top in speed and agility, which is kind of surprising,
Yeah.
right? But she also won't be able to see her mom for 3 years. And they basically like, peace, see you later, right?
Take her out of the room, and her bedroom's already packed.
Yeah.
And they're just like, get your shit and get out.
So Mira and Violet head to her room to find that her room's already packed.
Yeah.
But Mira gives her new boots and a new, like, leathers, basically.
Basically seemed like she was getting dressed like Black Widow from the Avengers.
Well, she's got to look like a rider,
Gotta look
right?
like a badass bitch.
Yeah. But the boots were so she didn't slip.
True.
So.
They were functional.
Yes. And I guess this is when we learn that she has to cross a parapet to enter the college. That's why 40 to 50 people die.
Yep.
Which, did you know what a parapet was before you read this book?
No, I deduced that it was like a narrow bridge or something.
Yeah. So 18 inches wide.
1.5 feet.
Yeah. And it's 200 feet above the ground. So.
Easy peasy, no problem.
Yeah. Mira repacks her pack, gets rid of a lot of books.
She's just carrying dead weight.
Yeah, and she gives her a vest that's made out of Mira's, like, dragon scales. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Which was kind of interesting. We then learn about the Codex and how riders are allowed to kill you at any time. Again, very deadly, right?
Yeah.
There are never enough dragons during what's called the threshing, so people want to kill you so they get a dragon, but they can't kill you while you're sleeping.
Yeah, there is some honor in the killing.
Yeah. So they're heading out. They go to the courtyard. Mira tells Violet to find Dane Atos, Violet's old friend. He's a second-year rider. And seems like there might be something there.
Oh, yeah, she's got a crush on him.
Yeah.
But because he's a second year and she'd be a first year, she's not supposed to have relations with him.
Yeah.
Everyone else is fair game, first year wise.
Yeah, but not anyone above her.
Yeah.
So, this is then when we're kind of thrown some information, basically, that Navarre has 6 provinces, and they each send candidates for military service. Built on the side of Basgiath Mountain. And each section, I guess, like the scribes, the riders, etc., have their own entrance.
Yep.
But obviously, riders have to climb and cross the parapet.
Yep. And you have to volunteer to be a rider.
Yes.
Well, the other ones are chosen. Like you're
Except
picked.
for the rebellion people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the rebellion kids are forced to join the riders.
Yeah. And they're all marked.
Yeah, they have like marks on their arm, I guess.
Yeah,
shimmering marks.
Something weird.
Basically like tattoos, I guess.
Probably, yeah.
They're from a dragon. And then Mira warns her about Zayden Ryerson. And to stay away from him, he'll kill her. He's a third year and he'll kill her as soon as he figures out who she is.
But
Dun,
obviously,
dun, dun.
my prediction at this moment is she's going to fall in love with him. Obviously, he's the bad boy.
What about Dane?
Well, he's a candidate too. She's got multiple love interests.
Yeah.
5 pages into this book.
Well, I mean, it's the classic
Right.
love triangle.
Yeah.
Possibly. But his father is the great betrayer, and he led the rebellion.
Yep.
So, and they were conscripted as punishment for their parents' crimes, which is a little crappy, right?
It is. You'd think they could just be banished or something.
Yeah, but no, you have to come and die, essentially, right?
Yeah.
So Violet signs in. Mira leaves her with a "Don't die, Violet. I'd hate to be an only child," which is just
Great advice. Great vote of confidence.
Yeah. Like, please don't. Yeah. She meets Rhiannon. I think it's Rhiannon.
Okay, whatever it is.
And Dylan. They're both very, very excited to be there. Dylan, I think, is a rebellion kid.
I think so, yeah.
Because he has the relics on his arm.
Yep.
And Rhiannon, I think, has loved dragons since she was a child.
Something like that.
They start kind of throwing more information at us. It's an interesting way to open the book because you're thrown right into the action, but then they got to catch you up on all the details. So you're kind of thrown information from Violet because she was training to be a scribe.
Yeah.
So she's like basically regurgitating all this information at them, but.
I will add, when we were introduced to these two characters, I immediately thought one of them's gonna die. Right away.
Yeah.
I don't know which one.
Yeah.
But one of them's gonna die.
I mean, that's kind of what it's leaning towards, right? But Dylan has a girl back home he wants to marry, and Rhiannon has a twin sister, I think, something like that. And the guy behind them, we haven't learned his name, but just an asshole the whole time, right?
Yep.
Violet notices it's gonna rain, so she looks at Rhiannon's boots, and because she has smooth soles, they switch one shoe together so that they each have a good shoe, basically.
Yeah, if I was her, I would have just kept to myself.
Well, she's nice.
I wouldn't have been that nice. I think these are my boots. My badass sister gave me these boots. They're mine.
Okay. So they're climbing up the steps, basically, right? Having this conversation.
Yep.
And they make it to almost the top. And there's 3 riders waiting for them. And one of them, when he turns around, Violet says he's the most exquisite man she's ever seen. She describes him in great detail.
She thinks he's very cute.
Yeah. And then, of course, we learn that he's immediately Xaden Riderson. Like, okay.
Obviously, the hottest boy is the baddest boy.
Well, yeah. So, Dylan has started to cross. And then Rhiannon asks Violet if she's ready for this soaring gale. And Xaden really immediately kind of turns. And they start talking because he hates her, she hates him. It's a mutual hatred, right?
Yep.
I guess he hates her because her mom killed his dad. And she hates him because his father killed her older brother.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So, he does notice the mismatched shoes, though, which I think is funny.
Yeah.
But, so she thinks that he's going to immediately kill her. Mm-hmm. And then it starts to rain.
Yep.
Dun, dun, dun. And then you hear a horrible scream. And, of course, Dylan has slipped.
Poor Dylan.
And he's, like,
Never
kind
had
of
a chance.
dangling there. But then he loses the grip and he falls and dies, basically.
Did she give him a last name?
Maybe.
I don't know if they did.
I think they did.
Anyway.
It's probably on page 18-ish. Or before that.
Yeah. I just couldn't remember if he had one.
But Violet has asked Xaden if if he's going to kill her, and then he replies after Dylan has fallen, why would I waste my energy killing you when the parapet will do it for me? And then it's her turn, and it's the end of the chapter. Dun dun dun.
Yep.
So you weren't shocked that what's his name died?
Dylan. No, I knew it was going to be one of them. I just didn't know how quickly it was going to come and which one it was going to be.
Yeah.
Made sense it was him because he didn't have the fancy boot.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so we start with chapter 2, and it opens with her saying, I will not die today. Yep. So Dylan is dead. Rhiannon is starting to cross the parapet, and Violet gives her name to the rider at the start of the parapet, and then I guess there's a roll on the other end to see who has not made it all the way through. Now, they focused on this a lot, right? I felt like it was like overly focused on. So when I was reading this, I thought she's going to take Dylan's name.
Yeah.
And pretend because Dylan is kind of a unisex name, and pretend she's Dylan and like let everyone believe she's dead. And like that's why her and Xaden are going to have this thing, because he's going to know, but he's going to keep her secret or something.
Yeah.
Obviously that did not happen. But that's what I thought was going to happen the entire time.
Yeah.
Because she was very focused on these scribes. Or not the scribes, the
scrolls.
Yeah.
The names, yeah. Because everyone makes such a big deal when they hear her last name.
Yeah,
to the point where she's like,
gonna...
oh, that Soren Gale. Yes, I'm that Soren Gale.
Yeah, so I thought she was going to abandon her last name and let everyone think she was dead, including her sister. But that was my prediction, but didn't happen.
Nope.
So Violet begins, and then I don't even think she's out on the parapet yet. An gust of wind knocks her sideways.
Yeah.
So, and then the candidate behind her mocks her, and we finally learn his name, Jack Barlow. He tries to immediately shove her off, and so then she actually starts crossing because she's got to get away from him. So then this is the other information dump, because they need to give you some information on the world building, which I do think you'll get more into it, but I thought it was very hard to follow the world building throughout the entire book.
Yeah.
So that's like my one critique. But she begins reciting facts to herself.
Yeah, she said
to calm herself.
She can't sing to herself, but she can just essentially tell herself a history podcast about her world.
So I'm not going to recite all of it because it's fairly boring, but they have 2 kingdoms. She lives in Navarre, the larger kingdom, and it has 6 provinces. It goes into detail on each one, but what they make, and I guess the one that had rebelled was the one that would have what is it called? It starts with a T. Is it on that map that you're looking at?
Tirandor?
Yeah, Tirandor, I think, is the one that rebelled. Mm-hmm. And because it was on the sea, it would have cut them off or something. So that's why it was a big deal. But she's just reciting information at us at this point.
Yep.
While crossing. It's raining and storming. So she drops and she's like, I would have crossed it on my hands and knees.
Yeah.
But I think she continues to get up and try to walk. But what would you have done?
I mean, considering how windy it seemed, you can just get down and shuffle across that thing.
Do you want to know, maybe we should wait for the end for all the theories.
Okay.
Do you want to wait for the theories?
Sure.
Okay. So she's still reciting information at herself, basically, and she turns to check on Jack, and he's standing there, and then she watches him wait for the next person behind him, and he grabs him by the straps of his backpack and throws him over the side of the parapet.
It just seemed unnecessary.
Holy crap. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're immediately oh, we hate him.
Yeah, we don't like him.
I mean, he's a crazy person, essentially.
And he already wants to be a wing leader.
Yeah, so he yells at her that she's next, and he's like walking very quickly, so she's got to rush. So her left boot is slipping because of the mixed boots, and she's reciting, and she's basically hurrying across. And I think she does fall, right? She slips.
I think so, yeah.
She catches herself, but she hurts her knee as it slams into the stone.
Yep, she hurts her leg pretty bad.
And so he's still trying to kill her, basically. So she bursts to her feet. She thinks everyone's going to want to kill her because a squad or a section is only as effective as its weakest link. So they think she's a liability to the wing because she's so weak.
Yeah. Which, I mean, makes sense.
Yeah, but
when you think about the context.
It's not like it's like graduation.
Right. It seems a little early to start to do that.
But I guess these people have been training for this their whole life.
True, and she's been going for 6 months.
Yeah. So obviously she's behind already.
A little bit.
But Rhiannon makes it. She steps into safety. And I guess she gets to the part where there's stone walls on either side of her. So she's kind of like relaxed.
Yeah.
Because she's made it. So she runs the last 10 feet. And he's lunging for her.
Yep.
And so she jumps off of the parapet onto the courtyard where there's 2 other riders waiting. But she pulls a dagger out and now has Jack, like he's above her and
by the jewels.
Yeah, he has the dagger.
I was cracking up at this part. Like, you go, girl.
His balls, basically. And basically the other 2 riders are just like, are you done?
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But he can't. She recites the codex, which is
the rules, because she's a nerd.
Yes. And I guess he can't kill her now because they're in a quadrant formation or something.
Yeah, it was like because she had crossed the parapet into the rider's quadrant. She was officially a cadet, and he wasn't.
Yeah.
And so since he wasn't a cadet, he couldn't kill her at that moment.
But she could kill him.
She could kill him.
So I think basically that one of the riders that's standing there waiting for them to be done with all of this is like, what you gonna do? You gonna kill him or not? She basically decides not to kill her or kill him.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I guess I wouldn't want to kill him off the bat, would you?
No.
I mean, I guess he has killed other people already, so.
Yeah.
But I guess she said she couldn't kill him from this angle, so the only thing that she would do is piss him off further by cutting off his balls, basically. So. But she did say, like, what if he kills me when he gets down? And they give you to the dragon.
Yeah.
And they don't wait for trials. So they just execute people.
Yeah.
So that's alarming.
Yeah.
But, so she lowers the dagger, and then Jack steps down. They give their names, which, again, I thought she was going to give Dylan's name. She didn't. That would have been a better story. But, She
got annoyed that they were going to ask if she was that Sorengale.
Yeah, so she's already over that, which is why she should have gone with Dylan's name. But he threatens her and basically says, you're dead. I'm going to kill you at some point.
Yep.
And that's the end of that chapter. We got a lot of information dumped at us.
A fairly short chapter, but mostly just like kind of world building.
Yeah. From an interesting way to do it.
Yeah, it's an interesting mechanism.
Yeah.
So I think at this point, Jack is obviously going to be her main rival, I'm guessing. Mm-hmm. And he's either going to be killed, possibly by her, possibly not, or have a redemption arc.
Yeah.
but I don't know which yet.
Guess you'll see.
I will.
The thing is, the series isn't even over yet.
That's true.
So.
However, he is not on my list of love interests at this.
Oh, what if that was
He
like
could
a
be.
true
that'd
enemies
be,
to lovers?
It would be. But she didn't go on and on about how cute he is, so.
Yeah.
Did she say anything about what he looked like? Was he ugly?
I don't remember. I think he's blonde.
Yeah.
I think.
I think.
She gave
maybe.
A description of him. That is
she
another
did.
thing. It was kind of hard to imagine some of these people because of the descriptions they gave. They either, well, again, as we get more into it, some of the people are quickly introduced, and you're like, "Who is this?" So, and they go back and forth from like first name to last name.
Right.
So like you kind of have to remember both names, which is sometimes hard in a series, at least for me. But
Yeah.
any more thoughts on chapter 2? Were you kind of into it at this point? Mm-hmm. Were you surprised she made it relatively easily across? I mean, she fell once.
Yeah.
He tried to kill her.
Yeah.
The thing at the end was kind of funny.
That was funny. I mean, obviously, she's going to make it.
Well, I mean,
She's the main character of the book. She's going to make it. But I think if chapter served as a good background.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so chapter 3.
Chapter 3.
What is I didn't read this opening thing on chapter 2, but
No.
it might just be more information.
See, chapter 3, little quote, says, "Blue dragons descend from the extraordinary Gormphalias line. Known for their formidable size, they are the most ruthless, especially in the case of the rare blue daggertail, whose knife-like spikes at the tip of their tail can disembowel an enemy with one flick." I didn't read that the first time, but
You should.
I should start reading
You should
those.
start reading those because they have.
It's relevant to the chapter.
It's usually relevant, and it'll either give you like the codex information or like that one's from what?
A field guide to dragonkind.
Yeah, and then later on you get some like other. I don't want to spoil it, but other things. So you should read them because it's kind of interesting.
I'll start.
Okay, so Violet has made it. She's alive. She seems surprised that she's alive.
Yep. Her knee hurts.
And her knee hurts, and her body, I guess, begins to immediately, like, tremble, kind of freak out. And, I mean, I feel like it's the adrenaline, right? And her, like, weakness, essentially, right?
Yeah.
But, Rhiannon grabs her, and I guess they're trying to switch back boots, right? Mm-hmm. And then she runs into Dane Atos immediately. Ooh. It's very convenient.
And she hasn't seen him in a while, and boy, is he hot.
But he is immediately like, what the hell are you doing here?
Yeah.
I guess, I feel like someone would have warned him, like Mira, but I guess they can't get information.
I don't know.
Like, hey, look out for my younger sister. She's
Right.
coming in. Because she's been training for 6 months. So, like, she knew she was going in, but...
But I guess because Mira's already, graduated, right?
I guess. I don't know how it works, if they can get letters or...
But
I don't think there's phone calls in this world.
probably not.
I can't tell.
Just
Well, you
probably
can't tell yet. I don't think
probably
there's phone
assume
calls.
not.
Yeah.
No. And he's a squad leader.
Yeah, so she's
Sounds
like
sexy.
freaking out basically, right?
Yeah.
She's in pain, and he kind of guides her away into like an alcove, and Rhiannon, I think I'm saying that right, follows her, and he kind of is like, "Who the hell are you?" Very like not very like good like first impression,
Right.
for us or for her, but they kind of bark back and forth at each other.
Yeah.
And I think they exchange their boots back, and
He tells Rhiannon to go tell some other rider,
redhead.
the redhead one, that her and Violet will be in his squadron section, which is the flame section
Yep.
of the second wing,
Yep.
which contradicts the title of the book because the book is called Fourth Wing. So I was confused at this point.
Yeah. And then, so she sends him away, or he sends her away.
Yeah.
And they give you some information on how it's like
Structured.
organized. But so it's like the highest ranking in quadrants are wing leaders, and then there's section leaders, and then there's squad leaders that can be second years, and then everything else is a cadet before the threshing, and then they become a rider if they get a dragon, basically.
Right.
Lots of information, right?
Yeah.
So he takes her up to his room, to wrap her knee, which she's prepared for. And then he has powers already. Mm-hmm. So I guess he has a dragon.
Yeah. Well, he's a squad leader. He's got to have a dragon.
I guess that's true. So he can like unlock the door or something,
Something
right?
like that, yeah.
Yeah. So Violet wraps her knee, which we find out she does this a lot. I guess this is how you're supposed to, I think, kind of connect the dots.
She's a frail girl.
She has like a chronic illness, and because the healers have taught her how to do this.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
So
they got tired of mending her. Here's how you do it yourself.
Yeah. So he is like, "Oh, I'm gonna get you out of here," and they go down to like the bottom. I think she thinks like, "Oh, I'm going to take you back to the main area, like the courtyard area."
Yeah.
But he's trying to get her out to take her to the healers. So that,
To eventually go back to the
go back
scribe.
into the scribe
Quadrant.
scribe quadrant. You better take that out. Scribe.
No.
And he kind of keeps reiterating that this place is going to kill you. You're going to break. You're too weak for this.
But this whole time, she's making it pretty clear that she wants him bad. She makes some joke about basically doing it right there. She wants him. So he's like, in terms of the love triangle, love interests, he's number one for her right now.
Well, yeah.
Obviously.
Childhood crush, right?
Yeah. The boy next door.
Because I guess they grew up together. That's kind of what we learn about.
Right.
I think his dad, I don't know if we know this yet, but I don't think this is much of a spoiler, but his dad works for her mom. So they moved around together because of that.
Right.
So they've grown up together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're flirting, I guess. And he's just trying to, like, get her out. Right? And she's like, I can't leave. My mom's going to bring me back here.
Yeah.
So, like, what are you going to do? I'm here, you know? So, and again, they're reiterating how dangerous this place is. Like, in the Rider's Quadrant, you either graduate or you die. Like, apparently, in this world, this would not be a thing that would happen, right?
Yeah.
OSHA would not be allowing this. I don't even know if OSHA's over colleges, but, like, you know?
Surely someone would have filed a lawsuit.
Yeah.
To stop all of this.
But basically, he's like, no dragon's going to pick you because you're weak. Again, that's what everyone keeps saying. And we learned that last year, 34 cadets didn't get bonded. So they have to, like, start over again, which kind of sucks. Just to hope that they get a dragon, right?
Yep.
So basically he gives up. He kind of like switches his plan and takes her back to the courtyard, right? Mm-hmm. She finds Rhiannon and the last 3 people across the parapet. And so Zayden walks in and Violet is watching him and describes him as a shark. The way everyone kind of moves around him. So 67 people died crossing the parapet, which is pretty high. 301. There's 301 cadets, I guess, to start, right?
I think so, yeah.
There's a Commander Panchak. Apparently Rhiannon says that he wants Sorengel's job, which is kind of weird to say in front of Sorengel's child, but
yeah.
and then he wants some guy's General Melgren's job, but Violet says Melgren can see the battle outcomes before they happen, so he'll never get that job, basically. So I guess he's stuck.
Yeah.
I think he works at the college, right?
I think so.
So they begin to call their squads out, right?
Yep. There's 3 squads per section, 3 sections per wing, and 4 wings.
So she's placed in
the second
Dane's
one. Second wing.
Yeah. And then, so they have Dane as the squad leader, and then they have like a female executive squad leader.
Yeah.
4 riders and 9 first years, which doesn't really only 9, but there was 301 people.
Is that 9 per squad?
I don't know.
If it's 9 per squad, math probably works out.
Okay. So Zayden is watching her this whole time, right? I guess, and she's watching him, essentially. And then they, all the squad leaders, or the wing leaders at the front, begin, discussing, right?
Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden, surprise, surprise, they move Dane's squad into the 4th wing,
Yep.
which is under Zayden's wing. So there's your title of the book.
There's the title of the book.
Yeah, so. Did that calm you down?
It did. I was like, makes sense now.
Zayden begins to talk. They're cadets now, blah, 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 blah. You can't kill. I guess their squad is the only people that are guaranteed not to kill you from the codex. Right?
Yeah.
So I guess Zayden can't kill her now.
Right.
Which is
interesting
because you assume from Violet's perspective that he wants to kill her, so he wouldn't have moved her into a squad that he can't kill her in.
Yeah, he thought she was going to die, so maybe he's impressed by her or something.
Yeah. So then all of a sudden, dragons.
Because it's all been pretty ceremonial,
Yeah.
first day of class kind of stuff.
Yeah, and then they just want to scare
Yeah.
them to death, basically, right? So they bring out these dragons to land on, the wall.
Yeah.
And there's, a navy blue dragon right in front of her. Hints
The little thing at the beginning of
navy blue dragon.
Which is some, super rare, the rare blue dagger tail.
Yeah. You learn a little bit about why the dragons work with them, right?
Yeah.
It's basically they call the valley behind Basgiath home. And then they like protecting, I guess it's called the Veil. That's where they live.
Mm-hmm.
And they like protecting them from the griffins. And then they said humans like living, so that's why they work together.
Yeah.
Because they need the humans to develop their signet abilities. To weave protective wards, they power around Navarre. So, a lot of magic.
Yeah.
Right from the start.
But it seems like it's a mutually beneficial relationship that the dragons have with the humans.
So once again, they quote a dragon without its rider is a tragedy. A rider without their dragon is dead. When this came out on Book Talk, that was like the sound that everyone put with stuff about this book. Like it was, I can hear it in my brain. So once bonded, riders can't live without their dragons, obviously. But I guess dragons obviously can live without their rider.
Yeah.
And then a cadet starts running away from the dragons.
Poor guy.
And the red dragon shoots flame at him, and they say he's a pile of ash on the ground. Like, holy cow, right?
Yeah.
So everyone is kind of like just standing still, I feel like.
Yeah.
And the navy dragon is peering at her. Violet thinks that she can sense that she's weak.
Yeah.
But they're just kind of standing still. Someone wets his pants, I believe.
I think 2 more people.
Yeah, so basically I think they
Runs.
just are like, oh, you made it, but like you should be scared,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And Xaden ends with, to them, you're just prey. I guess to the dragons, you're just prey. And then that's kind of the end of the chapter. So,
Yeah.
and...
There was also a king mentioned, King Towery.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So learning a little bit more about their
Yeah.
world.
A lot of their world... I probably need to, like... I need someone to summarize it for me.
give you a little like family like an organizational chart.
It's kind of confusing.
Yeah, because it seems like Violet's mom is really high up there as the commander or whatever, but then there's people above her.
Like, is the king above, like, the king of Navarre?
I would assume. It just seems heavily.
Oh, yeah, because they said even his son died at this college, right?
Yeah.
So no one is spared.
Yeah.
Basically, he seems like he's talking to her. Because he's like, no one's parent is going to get you out of here.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Mommy's not going to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what you think? First 3 chapters.
It's pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You interested?
Yeah.
Intrigued?
I am.
What do you think's going to happen from here?
She's obviously got to go through some training. Mm-hmm. There's probably going to be some mishaps because she's weak. That Jack guy's going to try to kill her. Did it say what section he ended up in?
Probably.
Probably.
I think... I don't remember. I think it did say what
Okay.
section he ended up as.
In any case, I think he's going to try to be all cool. And then we're going to get an Eye of the Tiger training montage. And then obviously she's going to get the super rare dragon, right?
You think so?
Well, duh.
Well, what's the super rare dragon?
The blue dagger tail.
one?
The blue one.
The blue one that was looking at her? You
Yeah.
think that's what the one she's going to
Duh.
get? Okay. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. She's going to become the greatest dragon rider of all time.
Maybe. Maybe not.
Or she'll die halfway through the book. I don't know. Wouldn't that be a twist?
It would be a twist, wouldn't it?
It would be. I would be shocked if she died.
Yeah, someone else becomes the main character.
Someone else becomes the main character. Dylan didn't actually die.
Guess you'll find out.
No, I don't think that.
Again, those are not spoilers. Those are just his wild predictions for the book. So, who knows?
And she's got to
what will
fall in
happen.
love with someone.
Yeah, either who do you like so far, Dane or Xaden? If you think those are the two, you think those are the two love triangle
In
people?
my notes, I did say there was a third one, but I don't remember who the third one was, unless I did consider Jack to be one. But I think it's gonna be Dane's gonna be at the beginning of the book, but then she's gonna fall for Xaden, obviously, or Xaden's gonna fall for her. Mm-hmm. One of those things.
Yeah. So are you excited for the rest of the chapters?
Mm-hmm. I am. I will say it's this book. It's a little ambiguous in the setting. Like it's, I guess with dragons, it's sort of like medieval fantasy type stuff, but it's written with very modern language. Even in the way that the characters speak, or at least
Yeah.
Violet's inner monologue stuff.
I feel like, I don't know if she intended it, but that's why people are saying it's like an easy fantasy
Right.
novel to get into, because you don't have to know all these terms and things
Yeah.
beforehand. So, and they speak in like you said, modern language. So it's easy for people who haven't read these type of books to kind of like ease their way into it. That's why people like it, because some people hadn't read fantasy books before.
Yeah, I
It's
can see that.
easy to get into, and not so complicated that, you have to... I mean, obviously the world building, I think, is a little complicated, but...
But it didn't spend the first 3 chapters just needless, boringly.
Yeah, you're kind of thrown right into the action.
Yeah.
Like, other books would have opened, 6 months before when she's training to join this. But instead, she's already
there.
In the first 3 chapters. And she's already, had some action happen, so...
Already had 70 people die.
60.
In 3 chapters. It goes to 70.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. Because 2 more people... Yeah, it says 2 more people run off.
Yeah, so... I think it's an easy book to kind of ease into it so far. Plus, again, the modern language helps. So, but I don't know. I don't think it's... I think there's no, modern technology, obviously.
Yeah.
So... But there is magic that we find out about, so... Are you excited?
Yep.
So next week, we're going to be reading the next 3 chapters, I think.
Mm-hmm. Unless one of them is really short or something.
Yeah,
It's not set in stone.
We're trying to figure out the timing for this, because this took us 50... We're up to 55 minutes, basically, at this point. So... but that first chapter was really, really long. Because I listened to this on audiobook yesterday, and the first chapter was 50 minutes to listen to, but the second one was 20.
Yeah.
So they're kind of
the second one was pretty short.
I think the next 3 are kind of equal, so probably be the next 3. So chapters, 4 through 6. Let me say that again so you can cut that part out, right? Next week we'll be reading chapters 4 through 6.
Yep.
And yeah, that's it. Go follow us on Instagram at What Is She Even Reading? Easy. Hopefully we'll have a full schedule out at some point on what we're going to be reading, so you can kind of catch up per week. But it's not too much to read per week, I don't think. Only 3 chapters, so yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Leave us some feedback. What are you supposed to say? Comment, subscribe, review.
Hit the notification bell if we were on YouTube.
So, I think I've timed this. One last note. I think I've timed it so that you can read all the way through this, and then the second book will come out that week. The next week once we finish it. So it's I think I timed it so that there's no time in between. So that should be exciting.
It should be.
But yeah, I think that's it for us.
Yep.
So thanks for joining. And can't wait for next week. Right?
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.